living in the present. So often our mind is either in the past, focused on what didn't work out, who did us wrong, mistakes we've made, or it's in the future, thinking about our goals, worried about our finances. What if my health doesn't improve? The problem with being in the past or being in the future is you will miss the present. David said, "This is the day the Lord has made." Today is a gift from God. Are you fully engaged, making the most of each moment, loving your family, appreciating the simple things in life? Or are you in yesterday? Are you in tomorrow? The reason some relationships are not healthy is you came home from work, but you didn't really show up. Your mind was somewhere else. You played with your child, but you were in tomorrow, thinking about how you were going to accomplish that goal. Or you went to the office, your body was there, but your mind was in yesterday, thinking about what you should have done better. If you're going to be fulfilled, you have to show up for life. You have to be there when you get there. Not show up and be in the future, worried about how it's going to work out. Not show up and be in the past, live in regrets, dwelling on your disappointments. Come into today. Yes, it's good to have goals. I'm all for having vision, but you can't be so focused on what's next that you miss what you have right now. I know people that lost what they had going after what they wanted. They were so intent on reaching their goal, doing great things, that they took their family for granted. They came home, but they weren't there. They were distracted, thinking about what was next, planning for the future. They never came into the present. Victoria and I used to travel to India with my father. We had been married for a couple of years, and on this particular trip, on the way home, we were going to stop in Paris. My father was going to minister there for a few days, and we were so excited. Our first time being in Paris together. Before we left home, we put an offer in for a house that we really wanted to buy. We had sold our townhome and we found this place that we loved. Had a nice yard and big trees, and the house was so light and open, it was perfect. When we arrived in Paris, the first thing we did was call our realtor and ask if she had heard anything. She said nothing. The next morning, we woke up, called the realtor. Any news? Still nothing. During the day, we would go out and look at sites. The whole time, we were talking about that house, believing we were going to get it. As we walked the streets of Paris, we took pictures of things that we'd like to do to our new house. Here's a front we could put on it. Here's how we could do the landscaping. We were in Paris, but we weren't really there. Our mind was somewhere else. We were in the future, all the while missing the present. We could have been making the most of that moment, enjoying the sights, taking in that beautiful city. But because we were so focused on what we wanted, we missed what we had. If I could go back now, I'd say, Joel, enjoy where you are. Be present. At the right time, the doors will open. The opportunities will come. But while you're waiting, stay in the now.
And so, this is why we are here, and this is the meaning of retreat. It's a retreat from yourself in order to find what the Buddhists would call the no self, or what other teachings would call the deeper self, or the Atman, or your Buddha nature, or the Christ within, whatever term you want to use to point to it. And that's why we're here. So all the external things here are helpful. It's easier here to connect with the depths of who you are and realize the depths of who you are. Of course, when you leave here, then you get challenged again. It's not that you don't get challenged here too, and especially if you're still very much identified with the mind, you find many challenges wherever you go. This isn't right. Don't like that. He doesn't look very spiritual to me. Or the opposite, all these people are so much more spiritual than me. Do they know that I'm not spiritual? So the practice is to voluntarily, as much as possible, relinquish identification with the thinking mind and your usual self. And what very much helps with that is just as much as you can. Don't walk around as a heavy personality and person with it. No, walk around as a light, as a field of conscious perception, and like a little child, it goes and look at everything. In other words, presence practice. Here, it's more easier than in your usual surroundings. Presence practice, present moment practice. There's a lot of nature here. I recommend taking walks in nature, looking at the trees, at the sky. There's a lake, the grass, the flowers, many, many lovely things. Be as present as you can and alert. And as you walk around from one building to another, from here to there, really perceive. That already is a liberation from the usual self. Because you're not thinking, you cannot really perceive your surroundings fully when your usual self is talking to you. And it's probably not talking about this present moment, it's talking about what you're going to encounter when you get back home. Or what happened last week. Or it's doubting that being here is actually a good thing. Or it's criticizing something that shouldn't really be here, but it's here. You don't want to, because that's not a retreat. You haven't really retreated. You've retreated on an external level, but you have not used this opportunity to retreat from your usual self, your usual mind.
Paying attention is being present, and it's a skill, just like golf or tennis. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. And you know when someone's present with you in your life because they're paying attention to you. And you know when they're not present with you because they're not paying attention to you. So now, what's the relevance of that? Well, there's an intelligence that's giving you life that's always present. And many people don't take the time to connect to it by being present, right? So if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, and all of your attention is in the present moment, you got a lot of energy in the present moment. Now think about this. When I talk about being present, I'm saying that once you fall into the generous present moment, according to the quantum model of reality, all possibilities exist in the eternal now. So most people, they wake up in the morning, they come back to their senses. Your brain is a record of the past. It's an artifact. It's a circuits of everything you've learned and experienced to this moment. So people wake up in the morning and they think about their problems. Those problems are connected to certain people, certain things at certain times and places. The moment they start thinking about the problems, they're turning on the circuits from the past, their memories. All those memories are connected to emotions because emotions are the end product of past experiences. So that problem has the feeling of disgust, frustration, anger, judgment, hatred. And if how you think and how you feel creates your state of being, and thoughts are the language of the brain and feelings are the language of the body, that person's entire state of being is in the familiar past. And when you're in the familiar past, you crave the predictable future. So then what happens next? They come back to their senses, they sit up, they check their cell phone, they do their WhatsApp, they do their Twitter, they do their text, they do Facebook, they take a picture of their feet, they post it on Facebook, they tweet something, they check one email, they check another email, they check the news, and now their entire brain is connected to everything known in their life. Then they stand up and they go through a series of routine behaviors. They use the toilet, they go to the kitchen, have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, they go in the shower, they wash themselves the same way, they put on the same clothes, they walk out to the kitchen, they eat cereal with the same spoon, facing the same direction, they drive to work the same way, they do the same things, see the same people, they push the same emotional buttons, and they do this every day. So now their body is programmed into a predictable future based on what they did in their past, and they lost their free will to a program. And so now, if If you're not getting up in the morning being defined by a vision of the future, then you'll be predictable in your life. You're left with the old memories of your past. So then, as I said, the stronger the emotion that you have some problem or person in your present reality, the more you're going to pay attention to that person or problem. And if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, all of your energy and your attention is going to all these different people and problems and places. And now, every one of those people and problems and places has a neurological network in your brain.
If we can change our perspective, how we think, it just changes about everything in our life. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And we're going to talk about perspective. We're going to talk about perspective about possessions today, which is a tremendous principle also that I'm going to share. But outside of sharing my faith, which I try to do every day and just love to do, outside of sharing my faith, if you and I sat down around the table, just the two of us, one-on-one, okay? Just a one-on-one conversation. And you would look at me and say, John, what is the thing that you would say to me that would best improve my life? I would talk to you about how you think, how I think, our perspective. In fact, I put in our lesson today some perspective principles that I just think are huge. And let me just give them to you real quick. Okay, you ready? Let's go. First of all, how we view things determines how we do things. That's just an incredible principle. Now, each one of these I could preach 30 minutes on, but they won't let me do that. But how I view things determines exactly. So if I view things in a perspective of wanting to serve with excellence, guess what I'll do? I'll serve with excellence. If I view things in a very kind of a average way, then I'll put average into that endeavor. So how I view things is how I do things. Let me give you another perspective principle that's just huge too, and that is what you see is who you will be. And we see things not as they are, we see things as we are. That's why two people can be in the same situation, same experience, same place, and see things completely different than anyone else. So what is before you isn't what you see, who you are is what you see. This third one is just amazing. Whenever I do conferences on how to create positive change in organizations or in people's lives, this is kind of a cornerstone of that thinking. And so let me give that to you. And that is that when we change the way we look at things, the things that we look at change. I mean, I'm always interested in people who say, you know what, gosh, John, I just want to change my spouse. Good luck. My name is John. I'm your friend. Let me tell you a better way to get on with that, and that is change the way that you see that your spouse. Then all of a sudden, everything begins to turn. These perspective principles I'm giving you, they'll just change your life. And I know that as I'm getting ready to teach on possessions, I know that you don't need it because you already have an awesome perspective. But aren't you glad I'm teaching this lesson for the person on your left today? Huh? Aren't you glad? Between you and me, I know that's why you brought them here today. So just look at them and say, this is good for you. Go ahead and tell them that. This is good for you. Now some of you are enjoying that way too much. I mean, some of you are saying, oh, this is my chance. I've been waiting for this for a long time. Let me tell you all about this. Okay. Let me give you one more perspective, just principle that's just huge, and that is what I believe about life determines how I perceive life, which determines what I receive from life.
If you're not paying attention to what I'm saying, would you know what I'm talking about? No. That's so with every aspect of life, isn't it? If you're not paying attention to it, you don't know what you're eating, you don't know what you're breathing, you don't know what's happening. Most people will not notice the fragrance of the flowers or anything, they're just walking through like rocks. Or let me say a bull, because they want to, a bull is worshipped in the stock market. It's an evolutionary fallback. If you walk like a bull or a bear, it's an evolutionary fallback. You evolved to be a human being, taking millions of years, now you don't want to fall back To be human means, what is unique about a human being is, we do the same things what the other animals do. It is just that all that the animal can do, we do the same things but we can do it consciously. That's a big difference. And doing anything consciously will not come if you don't have sufficient attention towards things that you do or things that you do not do. Especially things that you do not do, you must have absolute attention towards those, otherwise they'll creep into you. So this attention deficiency syndrome has happened because people's idea of education is information. Right now, the whole idea of human education system has become heaping you with information. The more information you heap upon on any mind, or let's say starting from childhood, the more he will develop aversion to attention. Because without knowing anything, information gives you a false feeling that you know everything. This has become a fashion now. Today if you're invited for a dinner party, you Google out information about the 100 billion galaxies, they've all been numbered and named and all that, okay? That 566BZ, that galaxy, you know, about that you know some information. You Google out, get these 2 sentences out and go to the dinner party. Whoever talks to you, they say, how are you? Hey, do you know about this galaxy which is a trillion light years away, which is a BB whatever? And you talk about it, everybody thinks you're smart. There's a whole problem with the world right now. We're considering information, we're mistaking information for intelligence. An entrepreneur or anybody who wants to navigate through any situation needs intelligence, not just information. Information may be useful on the side, but it is intelligence which will allow you to navigate through a particular situation in a unique way, not the way somebody else is doing. We are mistaking information for intelligence. Once you heap yourself with too much information, now attention is a serious problem. Once you have no attention, once you have no ability to hold your attention, you have lost your ability to access your intelligence also. You will just churn out the information from memory.
Because happiness does not ultimately derive from this world. This world is not designed to make you happy, it is designed to challenge you. And if you believe that this world is designed to make you happy, then you're going to get very angry because as the years pass in your life, you realize, why isn't my life working? Why is this reality seems to be always throwing obstacles in my path? The moment I say, oh, it's okay now, this problem has been solved, another one pops up from behind you. And so you have these areas of your life, the main areas being your physical health, your financial situation, your living situation, your professional situation, your relationship situation. And one of these areas usually develops problems. So you solve a problem in your financial area and then pops up a relationship problem. You solve the relationship problem, suddenly you have a health problem. It's interesting that you're constantly being challenged, and you might have noticed one of the greatest sources of challenges are human beings. Because humans are incredibly challenging. And although humans look to humans often for some ultimate fulfillment through other humans, more often what they find through other humans is that other humans turn out to be a source of suffering. And that is because you're stuck in the egoic mind, and the egoic mind has certain expectations of the world, which includes whatever you experience in this world, has certain expectations that the world cannot meet. But if you believe that the world should, then that is a delusional reality that you will be continuously unhappy. The world continues to challenge you, but you believe the world is here to make you happy. That's a terrible dilemma. So it means all your expectations are delusory. but you don't know it, and that creates an enormous amount of suffering, because then every challenge that you encounter in this world, and they come one after another, every challenge that you encounter in this world, you then, because of that underlying expectation that something is wrong when you're being challenged, every challenge is then turned into unhappiness. There's a big difference between a challenge and unhappiness. So when you have delusory expectations of the world, then the world will make you unhappy and not happy, but you continue to believe that something has gone fundamentally wrong in your life, because life does not leave you alone. But you want some peace, you want some, you want a sense of, I've arrived, this is it. And occasionally it comes, but it never lasts for very long. So that's the dilemma. The underlying state of ignorance, not knowing that the function of this world is to challenge you, because only by challenging you does it provide the necessary incentive to awaken you.
Whatever threatens you, I'm asking you to threaten it back. Take care of your responsibility, but don't take anything off of anybody. Somebody wants to destroy your chances for a good future by their negative talk, negative thinking, putting it all down. I'm telling you, walk away if you have to, walk away. Whatever threatens you, threaten it back. Whatever threatens your opportunity, threaten it back. Now, some of our enemies are on the outside.
So you need that strong why to keep you focused, to ignore all the other obstacles and opportunities, to really go after that thing and to have tested. You've tried a lot of things. You did not prematurely optimize. So I know that this one is good for me. I know that I'm not, because a lot of people, they end up they like the beginning. And so in the beginning, I know why I'm here. I'm ready to fight. This is good. And then as time wears on, laziness kicks in. They like distraction. Maybe they have ADHD. They want the next dopamine hit. They pick up their phone and suddenly they think it's, oh, well, this, Tom said to only do the one that gives me more energy. This doesn't give me enough energy. I'm going to go try something else. I would say once you've done the early exploration, of 15, 20 different things and found some that give you more energy than they take, then if more than 3 times you find yourself starting only to stop and want to start over again, that is you're lacking grit.
Was an accomplishment. Me losing 10 pounds and then 50 pounds. And then the more I did this, the more I gained confidence. And then the more I gained confidence, the more I realized these guys can't do what I'm doing right now. I had no coach, had no trainer, had no money. I didn't know how to lose weight. I had no knowledge of what I was doing. I was just working. I was just sacrificing. And then through that, all these different tools started coming up. But I would have never found these tools if I didn't put myself in a very uncomfortable place. We all look for toughness. We all want it, but we look for it in a comfortable environment. You will not find toughness in a comfortable environment. Those of you who are listening to this, whoever hear this, you will not find it.
The stage is set and it's time to rock and roll the heart of a champion. You can't pretend or fake it just to make it. When you speak with power. Own it, recognize your purpose in this world. We are all made to do great things. What good is your greatness? If you don't stand on it, this is not the time to quit. This is not the time to give up. But you got to keep on fighting. Yes, darkness is upon you, but there will come a time the sun will shine. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. But the time has come for you to succeed, for you to understand that you've got a mission. Don't let the losses keep you down. The mind is a powerful weapon. Resurrect yourself from the pit of darkness. When the rest of the world says no to you, you say yes.
But here's the most important thing to understand. Some of our enemies are on the inside. Let me give you a quick list. Indifference. You got to do battle with your own indifference. Boy, it's easy to coast, especially if you've accomplished something, extraordinary. Now, somebody says, I got to relax. Here's the key. Not too long. The weeds will take all you plant if you rest too long.
Angela Duckworth has a book called Grit where she addresses this, but basically you have to at some point draw a line in the sand and say, look, I know that in the early phases of this I loved it. Now I just need to push through the boring stuff by knowing why I'm doing this and having a desire to progress in my life, which is incredibly important. And I'm going to do that by gaining mastery in the skills that I would need to master in order to be good at this thing. And then you commit and you go. All right, that's how that's done. Next, I struggle with the consistency aspect of discipline. What advice do you have for someone like me? All right, so first of all, you want to set yourself up in the way that we were talking about earlier to make consistency the default answer. So we go to bed at the same time. We have our meal plan prepped out. So we don't have infinite ingredients in the house and a bunch of junk food. It's like we have the ingredients we need to make the food that we want to make. Our gym clothes are right next to the bed, all of that stuff. So we are setting ourselves up so that the right answer is the easiest answer.
Indecision. You got to make those decisions. The ones that don't turn out to be good gives you experience to make better decisions. Don't let much time go by without making some decisions. The ones that you can make quickly, make them quickly. The ones that take time, take your time. But get those decisions made. Don't let indecision be an enemy, rob you of the future, empty your bank account, leave you with zero in the purse. Don't let that happen. The next one is doubt. Sure, there's doubts on the outside. People doubt that America's going to make it. People doubt that Europe's going to make it.
A winner is a dreamer who never gives up.
It's important for you to understand that your experience facing and overcoming adversity is actually one of your biggest advantages.
How strong is your why? It's not enough for you to just say, I want to do well. You have to believe that you will do well, and you have to pursue it. You have to keep going when you run into challenges. Those who succeed are not fearless. They had to show up even when they were afraid.
And I know it's difficult to follow your dreams, but it's even worse if you don't. You have to find a way to build your own dream, or someone else will hire you to build theirs. If you give up on your dream,
there's power in your voice. You have to commit to everything that you do. Don't stop now. Don't give up on now. Keep it moving. Take control of your life. Believe in yourself, but make no mistake, you are worthy. Every day is a new day and another opportunity that others may not have. That could be no excuses. Life, how beautiful it is, how amazing it is to be able to rise up in the morning and have that sunshine on your face rather than on your grave. What makes life so unique and so beautiful? It is beautiful because wherever you have that you may be facing, what you may be dealing with, life is still good.
One day I made a decision that enough is enough. I'm tired of being average. I'm tired. I'm tired of being good. I'm tired. I want to go to the dealership and buy the best car. I want to move to the nicest neighborhood. I want to fly first class. I want to go to Hawaii. I want to go to Australia. I made a decision. Enough is enough. It's showtime. Will the real Eric Thomas please stand up? Some of you in the room right now, you are where you are. You're giving 60% when you have 120 in you. Why? Because you've never made a decision. Shh, there are those of you in this room, you already there. Your problem is there's some stuff you don't want to give up to go on. You're talented. You just don't want to give up sleep. Listen to me, pound for pound, any agent in the room, pound for pound.
People doubt that Russia's going to make it, the Poland's going to make it, the Czechoslovakia is going to make it. They doubt the whole world is going to make it. But I'm asking you not to pick up all those doubts. I'm asking you to have some faith, have some courage, believe, drive your doubts into a small corner. Don't let them loose like a mad dog, drive you into...
Life has so many moving parts, but life is always good. Every day is a new day and another opportunity that others may not have. This life that you've been given, this life that you are temporarily holding on to, this life that has been just given to you for only temporary reasons, has more meaning than you can ever imagine. So many people in the world take life for granted instead of realizing that you have to take the opportunity to live it the best way you know how. Now in this journey of life, you're going to face a significant amount of circumstances, a significant amount of challenges. You're going to fall into areas that you cannot understand.
Motivational speaker, pound for pound, entrepreneur, pound for pound, athlete, pound for pound, weightlifter, pound for pound. Whatever you do, I guarantee you, when you do it, nobody can do it like you do it. The problem is you don't hardly do it. You love sleep too much. You love that alcohol too much. You love that substance too much. You love that vice too much. There's something that you love more than yourself, than your dreams, than your goals. Watch what happens when you have a goal that only has 2 reasons. See how long that lasts. Watch a goal that has 50 reasons and see how. There's somebody called me the other day on an interview, stupid question. E.T., what do you feel like on the days that you don't feel like? I said, ask the question again, please. Well, what do you do on the days that you don't feel like? So I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm way past that. Every day I feel like. Every day I feel like eating. Every day I feel like giving my wife the best life.
Maybe it's not in a position for you to understand at that moment when you start to feel that you are in a position that you don't love your life, then shame on you, because your life is a beautiful thing. And no one deserves to ruin it. No one deserves to control it. No one deserves to steal your joy. Your life is your life, and you have the right to live it the best way you can. You must discipline yourself and take full control and responsibility for the outcome, or whatever it is that you are seeking at this moment. There are going to be times that you will see something that is standing right before you, and you may not even believe that it's a reality.
Do you have the courage to think? Because if you can think, you can change, you can move, you can evolve, you can grow, you can become. You are one idea away. Your credit is not a problem. Your car is not a problem. Your situation is not a problem. Your thoughts are the problem. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
There's a simple but often overlooked premise in business, and that is new growth comes from new thinking. New growth comes from new thinking. Expecting new growth for your business without new ways of thinking about it is like a farmer expecting new crops to grow without first planting the seeds.
So now is the season for you to move distractions, confusion, turmoil out of the way, to find a peaceful place where you can meditate and think, what am I going to do at this season in my life? What am I going to do with this age and stage? What could I do with the circumstances in my life? What would you do with what you have to make it better? One thought.
It's the time if you want to be on top of your game. Now listen, this is not for everybody. The masses will use their time being a spectator. We have been conditioned and programmed to be spectators, to watch people live their dreams. You want to use your time living the kind of life that people watch you. You want to use your time perfecting your skill and your passion to stand out as an expert.
Everything starts in the thoughts you think. You are no better than the thoughts you think. If you think little, you go little. If you think weak, you go weak. If you think up, you go up. One thought. Slap yourself in the head. One thought. That's how close you are.
Use your time to operate from that consciousness of Henry David Thoreau, who said, do not go where the path may lead, go where there is no path and leave a trail. If you just decide, I'm going to find something that I would enjoy doing, and then I'm going to carve out the time and have a schedule that I'm working on it every day, listen to me, nobody can touch you. There's no competition. There's no excuse today for not becoming successful. Even if you just lost your job, even if you're going through foreclosure and eviction, you can come back. You have no competition because the majority of the people throw their time away and they have nothing to show for it.
When you think about growing, whenever you're faced with a situation that you can't control and you make the decision to grow, it kind of trims the fat, right? The things that are not important, the things that are no longer something that you got to just focus on every single day. I'm talking about foolishness, right? When you make that decision to grow, it's just like in marriage, just like being a father. You zoom in on that thing on such a level to where it's like opposition is what it is, the challenge is what it is, but every single day I'm going to come in and be intentional about growth. And when you change the way you think about growth, right? When you change your perspective, how you see things, the opportunity for growth, man, is limitless. Every single day, you got all of us in the world that are dealing with a similar situation, but people are responding differently. It's like the quote that says, we all got problems, but what makes us different is how we solve them, right? Everybody is faced with different situations, but what makes them different is how they solve them. And so for me, man, the greatest thing that's happened as a result of this pandemic, of this corona, of this COVID, is every single day I wake up and I'm intentional about my growth. I'm intentional about it.
You see, the largest gap between successful and unsuccessful people in life is the thinking gap. I'm not talking about being smart. I'm not talking about an IQ. I'm talking about how you think, how I think. Successful people think differently than unsuccessful people. The most important real estate, the most important real estate in life is 6 inches between the ears. How we think. Becoming a better thinker is worth your effort because the way you think really impacts every aspect of your life. It doesn't matter whether you are a business person, teacher, parent, scientist, pastor, or corporate executive. Good thinking will make you a better business person, teacher, parent, scientist, pastor, or corporate executive. Good thinking creates the foundation for good results. If you don't like the crop you're reaping, you need to change the seed you're sowing. When it comes to achievement, the seed is your thinking. Good thinking increases your potential. If your thinking shapes who you are, then it naturally follows that your potential is determined by your thinking. Achieving your potential comes from making progress, and progress is often just a good idea away. For many people, the greatest detriment to their success tomorrow is their thinking today. If their thinking is limited, so is their potential. But if people can keep growing in their thinking, they will constantly outgrow what they're doing. Good thinking produces more good thinking if you make it a habit. Albert Einstein observed, "The solutions to the problems we face today cannot be solved on the same level of thinking we were at when we created them." Look around you, and you'll see that it is true. The world keeps getting more and more complicated. The good news is that no matter how complicated life gets, or how difficult problems may seem, good thinking can make a difference if you make it a consistent part of your life.
It's easy to go around thinking that the obstacle is too big, we'll never get well, this virus is going to get the best of us. We wonder why we don't have any strength, why we can't get ahead. It's because our thoughts are limiting us. We draw in what we constantly think about. You can't think defeat and have victory. You can't think weakness and have strength. Your life is going to follow your thoughts. Instead of thinking these weak, defeated, not able to thoughts, you need to think power thoughts. This sickness is no match for me. This virus can't stop my destiny. This trouble at work is not how my story ends. Victory starts in our mind. Success, breakthroughs, new levels depends on our thinking. Be careful what you think because your thoughts run your life. Are your thoughts helping you or hurting you? Are you thinking power thoughts, victory thoughts, well-able thoughts? Or are you thinking defeated thoughts? I'll never get well, never accomplish my dreams, never break this addiction. You're choosing which direction your life is going to go. Pay attention to what you're dwelling on. Don't just think any thought that comes to mind. If it's negative, discouraging, fearful, don't give it the time of day.
To be productive, to make an impact, to create a presence. That's why we're here. To work, to leave our mark. And so do an evaluation of yourself. Ask yourself, if you look at 24 hours, how much time do you spend developing your mind? How much time do you spend learning a new skill? The economy has changed. 47 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence. Majority of money being made on the planet is being made virtually at home on a computer. The game has changed. And I'm encouraging you, get around people who are using their time productively, because people rub off on you. When you know your purpose, that narrows how you use your time. How are you using your time? You have something special. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine.
And I know this isn't like breakthrough news to anyone, but I think that we often forget this. And we're gonna face hardships. We can't avoid pain. We can't avoid trouble. All we can do is prepare our mindset so that we don't get overwhelmed by our circumstances. A lot of people, when they have a negative circumstance take place in their life, they react negatively to it. I mean, that seems almost natural. In fact, that is natural. Something negative happens to me, my reaction back to it is negative. But this is why you have to change your mindset.
And I'm saying to you, if you keep going, if you keep looking for a way, where there's a will, there's a way. If you keep moving, if you keep falling forward, if you keep getting back up, something's going to happen. Bob Marley said something I like. He said, you never know how strong you are until being strong is all you have. You never know how strong you are until being strong is all you have. It's your only option. And you discover, if you don't panic, if you don't run, you discover you are stronger than you give yourself credit for being.